It's my birthday. First up is Hell Comes to Frogtown. Look at that goodness. This is a 1988 movie starring Roddy Piper of WWF fame and Sandal Bergman of other B movie fame. Yeah, so on Saturday we had like a little birthday party for me. It was literally just me and two other people. That's all it was. And we decided to watch this movie because that title is just incredible. Just for the record, Hell is his name. His name is Sam Hell, and there are frog mutant monsters in it. It's great. So the premise is that the year is 2010. We've been in a post-apocalyptic wasteland for a decade now, and there are mutated people or mutated frogs who became people. It's unclear which. Our protagonist, Sam Hell, is one of the last fertile men in the world. And so he's now under government contract to go impregnate a bunch of women. And yeah, once we heard that part, we were like, oh shit, is this actually like a porno? And the answer is no, it wasn't a porno. It was surprisingly, like, everyone was definitely sexualized. There's construction if you hear sounds, that's what's happening right there. He was very sexualized, as were women, but he probably got it the most out of everyone. And like, there was surprising lack of nudity in this movie, which I would honestly discredit. Like, took away from some of its greatness, because like it kind of needed that just to kind of like more spice it up. Really, this movie is essentially like, I would have been happy with male or female nudity, just for the record. This movie is basically Mad Max Fury Road, but not quite feminist. Yeah, and also a B movie, which I know kind of the original Mad Maxes were basically B movies, but this is very clearly different from them. Just like those monsters are ridiculous. It's great though. I loved it. I didn't put it in the really liked category, but I did love it. Like I said, the nudity. I wish there would have been more just nudity on both genders. Also, so like these frog people who actually look, the main leaders of the frog enemies look fantastic, like just as solid as like the old TMNT costumes. More TMNT 1 where the lips don't quite match up right. But like, yeah, they look great. And then like, there's this whole thing about like, ooh, the three snakes. What are the three snakes? The three snakes are three penises that one from the frog leader has. He has three dicks. And like, you see them moving around, and it's awful but great at the same time. And like, it looks, then he like lifts his loincloth to reveal it, and you don't see it. And I'm like, no, we needed to see three frog dicks all at once. Like, you can't skip on the frog dicks. Otherwise though, it's great. It's funny, it's fun. And again, it feels a lot like Mad Max Fury Road, especially like at the end of the movie. But yeah, it's worth it. It's on Shudder right now, which I really need to get for myself, because it's such a good service. It's just so ridiculous and great. Yeah, so this is a good birthday watching that movie. Now on to The Other Lamb. It definitely says lamb and not limb. I definitely did mess it up several times. This movie just came out this year on streaming. I think it came out in April. And it stars Raffi Cassidy, my third one of hers. I still really want to watch Tomorrowland, but that's not on Disney Plus, which really sucks. Anyway, but yeah, so this is an Irish / Polish film. It's all in English, and it's actually set in America, but America definitely looks like Ireland, so it's whatever. But I think that actually is kind of part of the point, because like, it's supposed to be kind of trippy and weird and strange and stuff. The premise is that Raffi Cassidy was born into this all-female cult led by one dude who fathered all of these children and stuff with all these different women. And okay, one second. The tagline, like if you read the description, it says that she begins to question the teachings, the dude's teachings, and her own reality. And I'm like, that's not really what happens in the movie. She kind of like, she's probably one of the more loyal followers, sort of. She rebels a little bit, but not like an extreme amount. And then like, I don't know. It's definitely weird and strange. It's shot really beautifully. I would definitely give it that. Like there's just some incredible shots with some striking visuals. I don't know how to really call the acting because like people just kind of look off into the distance and think and stuff, and no one's really emoting or anything. So I don't want to call it bad. It's just there's nothing really there. I think this movie could have been a great short film. Definitely like 20, 30 minutes. This would have been a nice, tight, great short film. Really strange and weird, and yeah. Because they really just didn't do a whole lot with it. It's just a lot of thinking and processing, which, I mean, is important, but like when most of the movies, the main character kind of processing what's going on, it's not really that entertaining. But yeah, it was interesting. I definitely like the ideas there. I think there's more to be done with it though. And I do like how there's like some strange things that happen that they just never really explain, or like there's like all this string that's tied up in the trees above them and it's never talked about ever. And that's great. I had a big debate with myself where I was going to put this exactly, because it was like, well, I liked it sort of. I mean, it was okay was kind of my thought. And it's hard because like okay is kind of like that's liked, but that's also meh. So it ended up being in the meh category, unfortunately. I did, there's still good stuff there. It's just not a ton to really make it go up to the liked category. Raffi Cassidy's still great though. She's still a wonderful actress. I'm excited to watch more of her stuff. And lastly, An Easy Girl. I don't know why the hell I watched this thing. I only got through 17 minutes of it, and I was like, I don't want to count this. But I've watched other movies where I watched less of it and still counted it. So I'm like, well, damn it, I have to count this crap. Cool. So now we're talking about this. So this is a 2019 movie starring a former underage French escort. So that kind of just tells you, that's just the actress. That's her right there. She used to be an underage escort. So, yeah. And the movie is all in French. I think it's, so like, I kind of compare it to Swimming Pool, and how Swimming Pool was about like yielding your sexuality, like wielding your sexuality, using as, you can kind of control the room using your sexuality. Whereas this movie is more just like, hey, look at me, I'm hot. Aren't I hot? Look at me, I'm so hot. Yeah. And I'm like, no. I think the movie was going to be more so about like her, the younger girl who's like 16, kind of opening up with her sexuality and finding her sexual self. But I didn't like her as a character in those first 15 minutes. And the other lead, she was just awful, and I couldn't stand her at all. There was like a male character who played his guitar for a little bit, and I was like, oh, he's kind of interesting. Like, I'm more intrigued again. But the scene just went on for way too long and just became dull and dumb.